If you're a parent and you're going to try and make some decision for your kid, you ask yourself this very important question: are you qualified? Do you think you have enough knowledge and requirement to know that you're capable of coaching your kid? Corey go play matches at different academies. Corey go to the USDA. Corey go to tournaments all over the world. Corey did her practice every single day. That never changes, never, ever, ever changes. The discipline of doing it and the consistency of doing it over a long period of time. That's what development tennis is all about. Development in any sports is all about. If it's a good enough coach and the coach has done it already, sit there for a year or two and learn everything that the coach is doing.
Hey Sly, welcome to the CoachLife Podcast.
Hey Pete, how are you doing? Yeah, we've been trying to get it together for a while. Finally, I got to eventually give in. You won.
Yeah, well, we're excited. It was a shame I didn't get to meet you in Thailand when we shot the CoachLife content, but I know we're going to shoot some more content over the next couple of months, and I'm excited about that.
Yes. That's awesome. I'm loving what you guys are doing with the CoachLife, and also, I'm willing to, give all the information needed to help, create this platform so people can get a lot of information they need from this platform. Yes.
Yeah, your content is fantastic. I learned so much. And just to give the viewers a little bit of a background, I mean, you're one of the greatest tennis coaches of all time. I think it's okay to say that. You've coached 12 junior world number ones, which is amazing. All three of your own daughters were world junior champions. You also coached Coco Gauff between the ages of 6 and 14. You coached Sloane Stephens between the ages of 9 and 13. And what most people don't know is you actually spent a lot of time on court working with Serena Williams, Venus Williams. You were mentored by Rick Macci, Nick Bollettieri. And then you transferred that into your own academy in South Florida, where you worked with these players on a daily basis. And after working at that academy, you moved over to China and you set up a program that was responsible for what we're seeing now in Chinese tennis that included players like Qin Wenzheng, who you were on court working with. So yeah, we're super excited for this podcast today, and I guess we've had some questions from some of our subscribers and viewers. And one of the questions was, with Coco Gauff, you've developed probably one of the biggest serves in women's tennis, one of the best backhands in women's tennis. And I know we've had a lot of discussions about tennis, and you talked about with Coco's forehand, she developed that hitch in her forehand after she left you. So maybe you could talk a little bit more in detail about after Coco left at 14 and then started to develop that hitch in her forehand that you were talking about. I think you mentioned it being a lock in the swing. And maybe you could just talk about the importance of, if you have a junior coach who's built your technique, even if you move on to different environments or different coaches, maybe the importance of staying in touch somehow with the junior coach that built the foundations of your technique.
Yes. Thank you for the introduction. On Corey's side, growing up, we've always modeled their game to be from a serve, a solid serve, maybe inside the forehand, but a lot of forehand. So that was actually our game during the early development stage. And that was a plan between me and the dad. It was a very, very simple plan, very easy. We saw Federer doing it. We saw Sampras. So the dad actually loved that idea too. So I was actually up for it because that's my game too. So, we didn't spend that much time deviate away from that concept. It was what her forehand was always a weapon. During the stages, tournaments, I remember she had the tournaments and everybody wouldn't hit in the ball to her forehand. I remember there was matches that nobody wanted to hit in the ball to her forehand. Everybody wanted to play to the backhand. And it was sort of, the news around is, try and play her backhand a little bit more. Our traveling coach, who was Gerard Logo, I mean, you probably have heard about him too. He always come back and said, okay, we got to fix this on the backhand. We got to fix this on the backhand. So we were never, ever fixing anything on the forehand. because it was always a consistent progress up. The forehand was always, in the light. It's an everyday thing. Now, I think what happened is somewhere along the line, when she went to in between 13 and when she went to Martaluga, she started developing a little hitch in her forehand. And my only guess is I didn't see her for a couple of years. I went to China, so I didn't see her for a couple of years. But my old concept of what happened was they must have took their eye off the forehand. I remember the discipline we had in the forehand. We never, for 4 years, we didn't take our eyes off the forehand. And not one point we took our eyes off the forehand. It was always an everyday work in progress, the forehand. So usually what happened, not only with her, a few other players, they get handed off to other coaches, and they lost the discipline of what the concept, what took them to that certain point. Because the forehand was never, ever a problem. I can tell you that 100%. Gerard will tell you the same thing. The dad will tell you the same thing too. So Corey was capable of winning with whatever she had. So what I'm sure of, she became number one junior in the world at probably at 13 years old. So everybody was thought everything was fine. Nobody was still keeping a good eye and making sure whatever got her to that number one spot right there, keep that going. So there was a little hitch in her forehand. I saw it when she was like 15 or 16 years old. I saw it a little bit. But what I'm very surprised about is even when the new coaches, they saw it, they did not make the effort to clean it up, because she's still winning. She's still number one in the world for her age. And so nobody, but it's not only the cleaning up, I think they lost the discipline of her forehand was supposed to be a weapon, not just for a defensive mode or to get the ball back in the court. Her forehand was supposed to be a weapon to attack, to defend very good, to attack very good, to be offensive a lot. But I think they took their eyes off that forehand. And I think the most disappointing part of it for me is listen to a couple of the coaches, especially also Brad Gilbert, who I think is a very, very good coach. He actually said they weren't going to change nothing in the forehand. I'm like, what? That was Corey's main, strong point growing up. She had the ability to change anything at all and do good with the changes. She had the ability to make that change and switch it right away. So I think it was from my perspective, it was a mistake for them not to some way spend a few months trying to fix that hitch in their game. So it wasn't so much the grip. People think it's a weak semi-Western grip that she's got in her hand. I don't think it's so much I think it's that little slight lock right before she made connection with the ball. You can tell, you can see a lot of photos. Her head is already moving, so her shoulder is locked in. Good enough when she's feeling good is good enough to win against anybody at all. But once the pressure is on, you can see in quite a few big matches, the forehand slightly broke down a little bit. You understand? And it's not that far off. And that's what I'm saying. If they spend a couple of months, the coaches, a couple of months and trying to just a little tweak there, and it's a part of what make the men so good, the Federer so good, the Djokovic so good, the Nadal. They kept improving when they were growing. It's amazing. In the 30s, Nadal, Djokovic, and Federer, the game was still improving in the 30s. Yes, improving serves and everything. Nadal changes serve, Djokovic changes his serve, Federer improving his high backhand. They were all improving, not just technically, biometrically. They were still improving. So for the coaches to say Corey at 18, 19 years old, they're not going to change nothing to improve her forehand. I thought it was the biggest mistake they could ever make, to be honest. You understand? Because that was always Corey's strong point. She had the ability to make that change, whatever the change was, to make the change to improve. And the mindset was there to do it too. So for them not to, take advantage of that talent, which I think Nadal's got, Djokovic got, these good guys, they can help them to keep improving at the same time. You understand? So I just think, it's for her right now, her dominating the game of tennis, that forehand would need to go up another 25%, technical wise and efficiency wise. That means the ability to pound the court when she wants to. You understand? So I think, can she still do it? Yes. And do I think she's going to do it? Yes, I think she's going to do it. And I think there's going to be a time within the next 2 years where she will dominate the women's tennis. She will have a 2 or 3 Grand Slam here where she win 2 or 3 Grand Slam and dominate a little bit in women's tennis. I think she's pretty close to doing that. But I just think the forehand is just a little bit away from doing that. And once she gets to that point, I think she's going to be capable of doing.
Yeah, she actually is working with Jean-Christophe Farrell, a French coach, and actually played on the tour with him. And I've noticed, I was saying to you the other day, that she's hitting the buggy whip forehand, the Nadal like forehand. And I think, you talked about the lock there, the hitch, the lock. So I
Yes.
think that's released it a little bit. So she's able to just release it and let it go. And it seems a lot better.
Yes. So, the lock, what the lock does, in that situation, it decelerate the racket through the point of contact. So now by her slightly going up through the ball like a semi-Nadal at the moment, I think it's an awesome idea for her because this releases the lock, you understand? Okay, she's still going to have to be able to follow through to drive through some of the shorter ball. She's going to have to drive through a little bit more. But yes, in this case, I would think this is a very good idea for them to try anything at all. Try anything at all just to release that lock. And this might be a good start for her to release that lock. Yes.
And I also noticed that on her follow through, she's finishing a little lower, which I think also releases the lock. I think when she has the lock and she finishes a little higher, like you say, it's at a deceleration.
Yes.
But if she lets it go a bit lower, it seems to help.
Prone it over a little bit more. But yes, in she still does a lot of things that's exceptionally good. So he overshot it for a little bit. But at the big moments, the good players, they know uh, where to slightly, tweak that ball a little bit, and she gets a little tight. And those are the little things that's going to affect her for the time being. But as soon as she, clear this little area, and many of the girls should hope she don't clear this area because if she does clear this area, many of the girls they're done. She's gonna knock them off the court. So they should hope she doesn't improve in this little area. So they'll have a chance of beating her. But now she's gonna. I think she's gonna do it. She will clear the area and then she's gonna dominate the women game for a little bit for sure.
Yeah, I noticed we made a post on Coach Life a few months ago, and Coco commented, "Sly is the best." She obviously has huge respect for you. I know you have this superstition where you don't want to contact her again until she's number one in the world. I think that was a cool story that you told me about.
Yes. Oh, yes. It's been a while since that I talked to her, and it was in my head. I had it. She would be, one of the best players in the world by age 18 or 19, and she's been pretty close. So in my book, in my head, the next time I contact her is congratulations. You made a coach very proud. You understand? Because that was a prediction for her. It's been all along since day one, since she's 7 or 8 years old. We already made that. In my mind, I knew what I had in front of me, so I already make predictions of her. I didn't make prediction for anybody else. I made a prediction for her. Oh, dominated. She would be what she would become. She would be number one. She would be the best player in the world. Actually, I just saw. I commented in a picture. One of my friends from Jamaica post on Facebook in 2013, and I made a comment and said, "Watch, this girl will be number one." I just saw it the other day. It was a comment. I made a comment. So yes, it's a little superstitious in my head, and it's me, just like. And the next conversation I'll ever have with her is, yes, the day when she become number one in the world.
Absolutely incredible. It's inspiring. I know you worked 6 hours a day on court with her for that 8-year period. You also worked alongside Jeff Drock, who was her fitness coach and speed coach, strength and conditioning coach. He's also on Coach Life. We just finished shooting with Jeff in Florida.
Yeah.
And yeah, tell us a little bit more about how you structured a session. I know it was 6 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week. I know you think that she might have played too many tournaments as a kid, and I know her dad has talked about that previously as well. Yeah. But please just give us an idea of how you structured a session, going from 6 to 14. And, I know you mentioned it was 6 hours a day, but just give us a little bit more detail about that.
Well, because of the track record that we've had over the years, the day when Corey came on the court with us, this wasn't an experiment. This was already, everything is already calculated. It's 25, 27 years worth of experimenting on players. When we got to Corey, we knew what we're going to do. We knew the guys around me, the hidden partners, Jeff came at a couple of years later, Gerard came a couple of years later, but the same guys who being a part of Serena and Venus's life, being a part of Sloane's life. These same guys, Sasha, Vickery, all my daughters, all the European players that we ever coached, the same guys, we knew exactly what we had in front of us, what we're going to do with Corey. The father, the dad, he trusted us with what we were going to do. He didn't ask us any question. He knew what kind of environment his daughter was in. Corey was always safe. He doesn't question the work. He just gave us what we need to make Corey a tennis player. So we started out, me and Corey, I remember me and her alone in the day. It was supposed to be 1 hour lesson in the morning and 1 hour lesson in the evening. But after an hour lesson, Corey, Coco, she doesn't even like she start trying. She doesn't even like she's sweating yet. So usually, a kid 6, 7 years old, a 1 hour lesson, they're dying. But with Corey, she just looked like she want to do more. So we'll do an hour lesson, then I'll give her like an half an hour extra lesson. The dad will pay for he paid. The dad, he pays. He pays for the hour lesson, but then I'll give her half an hour. But like 5, 6 months later on, I'm giving 45 minutes. So he paid for an hour, I'll give him 45 minutes. And it came down to, we went up to 2 hours, 2.5 hours every day, morning and afternoon, so 5 hours a day. And she kept going. We had so much to do. So we didn't put in a restriction on what she is capable of doing on the tennis court, because we knew we had something special, because nobody in the past, with all the champions we've ever coached, was never had this sort of, it's a different kind of talent, the talent to work. So I look at her and I have the Corey is the same thing as Nadal, I guess. The ability to work, you understand? So we as coaches and parents, we put a restriction on everybody. We can't put the same restriction on everybody. Everybody's not the same. So Nadal is not Federer. Federer is not Nadal. Nadal likes to work. He likes to work. He likes to play all day long. Federer, he works really hard too. But Nadal, you know what I'm talking about. So Corey had that talent. She had the talent to, whatever is in front of her, if it's mini tennis, if it's a hidden partner, if it's a private lesson, she will out there. If it's doubles, she wants to be a part of it. So the day wasn't just consist of 6 hours private lesson. It was consist of an hour and a half hour private lesson in the morning, then 1 hour in hidden with a hidden partner. They'll play points or hidden a tiebreak or whatever. And she still wants to come and do group with the other girls. She still wants to come and do group with the other girls. After the group finish, we used to have these fun games that we play. And the mom would have to sit there, and after 2 hours after practice, the mom still sits there and waiting for her to go home. Sometime I have to go on the court and literally take her off the court. You understand? So we had so much, resource to work with, from talent from Corey's side, that we got, so open with what we're capable of doing with her. There was no restriction. There's no limit to what we can do with Corey. And this is part of the reason why I made these bold predictions. You understand? Because I knew she, at a younger age, she had the ability to listen, the ability to learn, the ability to stay mentally tough, the ability, she was going to get physically stronger, she was going to get physically faster. So these are multi-talents, not one talent, it's multi. Many players, you see one player, I got good eye to and coordination. Corey was multi-talented, like in every different areas. You understand? If they were doing footwork and they do sprints, there's 20 girls, she'll finish in the front of the line every time. She's the youngest one, she finished at the front. We don't know how she finished here, but she finished in the front. And she wasn't faster than the other girls. She wasn't bigger, she wasn't stronger than them, but she would always finish in the front of the line. At the end of the race, she would finish in the front. She'd find a way out to win. So this is what we found, that champions, they find a way to win. So Corey already showed us that she's already got this capability. She'll find a way to win. Even if the person is bigger and stronger than her, same thing in her tennis. When she plays, I used to put her with these older kids, and she'll play them. Maybe she would not beat them the first time, but, a month after, she find a way to sneak a tiebreaker out of them. How is that possible? How did you win a tiebreaker from this girl? In a regular match, you lose 6-0, but in a tiebreaker, she took the girl down. And so we saw these signs. These are signs of champion. You understand? So I've always, trying to talk to the coaches to see whether the champions were they born or were they made. You understand? In this case, Corey was born a champion. You understand? So this we knew because all these capability and all these talents. So by the time she was 7 years old, we were doing 2 hours in the morning private lesson, 2 hours in the evening private lesson. This she does all the other 2 3 hours that she does is her doing tiebreakers or playing doubles or playing mini tennis with other kid. So she will spend a lot of time on the tennis court. So it wasn't 6 hours stressful private lesson. Even if it was 2 hour private lesson, I promise you, it was an awesome 2 hour private lesson. You understand? She had the ability to mentally cope with whatever was happening at the time. You know, by the time she get to 8, I was thinking maybe lower it a little bit. The hours private lesson that I spent in the court with her. So we went on to hour and a half private lesson. Then we'll give her 1 hour, private hitting. This is where Gerard came in when she was 8.5 years old. Gerard came. So Gerard was a hitting coach. So I'll play with her hour and a half private lesson, and Gerard will play with her 1 hour. And we do this morning and afternoon. By the time she gets to 9 years old, the dad wanted her to play more matches, tournaments and stuff. And we used to go to this other place, Pro World, to play some matches. She used to go there in the evening and play, So I told the guy, Pro World, keep a good eye on her, please. I don't want to let go of her yet for a few more years. So the guy at Pro World, he said, okay, we'll make sure she comes and she stay disciplined and do her work. So she was doing in the morning, by the time she's 8.5, 9 years old, she was doing hour and a half lesson, the private inning, then the jet footwork, and then she go play matches in the afternoon at Pro World. Now, there's some days she won't go play matches. She'll come back to practice in the evening. So this is where the 6 hours come in. That 2.5, 3 hours in the morning, and the same thing in the afternoon, repeat in the afternoon. And this went on for another year and a half too. By the time she get to 9.5, 10 years old now, I only want 1 hour in the morning with her, and then 1 hour I want, because her everything was so disciplined already. So her 1 hour session was everybody else's 4 hour session. Wow. So this is where I told the dad, we set benchmarks for her, but she overshadowed all the benchmarks. She went past all the benchmarks by so far. So I told the dad, I'm gonna simmer down a little bit. You understand? Because it's in a hurry where she's going. It's in a hurry a little bit. So let's try and see if we give her a 1 hour private lesson. And this was the plan: 1 hour private lesson, a private match, a private hitting, then a practice set right after. And this is where it was for all the way up to 10 years old, 10.5, 11, almost at 11 years old. I want to do 1 hour private lesson in the morning, 1 hour private lesson in the evening. She go to Gerard, and then she got Jeff. So that's a long day already. So we, in turn, those 5.5, 6 hours a day that we're doing, everything slightly changed a little bit. Adjust the private lesson, the hitting, and the footwork. Everything slightly adjusted a little bit. I remember there was at one point she was doing fitness in the morning and fitness in the evening. Footwork in the morning, private hit in the morning, private lesson in the evening. Private hit in the morning, private hit in the evening. So it was a consistent, long period of time where she was doing this, and this is another reason why we knew her ability to improve, how fast she was going to improve, because of this concept. So what we were sure of is, and certain experiment we do with many other kids, we will set a chart and we will grade the players accordingly to how good they did today. So we give them if at the end of the week, 6 days, at the end of the week, we trying to add all the days together. So we give them points, maybe a 50 today. So the top was 100%. Some kids were getting 50% every day, 40%. So we grade. They weren't like winning a match. But what I meant here is we will give them grade according to their concentration, their technical formation, their footwork, their basic everyday practice. What is the good practice or bad practice? At one point, we stopped keeping track on Corey. Why we stopped keeping track on her? Because there was no bad days. Yeah, there was no bad days. So we didn't need all the other kids were keeping track on all the other kids. We didn't keep track of Corey anymore, because every day was a 100 every single day. Yes, the days when she comes out and there wasn't a 100, we were actually surprised. We were like, whoa, what happened? Corey, what happened today? She played a long match yesterday and she got mad because she lost the match or something. But the consistency of the good days were so long, a long period of time, that we knew everybody was in trouble. This is why we predict that she would pass all the girls that we were coaching, including some of the top girls in the world we were coaching at the time. We predict in 1 to 2 years how many girls she was going to beat in 1 to 2 years because of this process. So what we found out, the coaching, the team, what we came to the conclusion was the consistency of the good practice makes steady improvement. So consistency, good practice, consistent, makes steady improvement. Corey was consistent right across the board at all times. All the girls, there was 8 other girls who were above her, 3 or 4 days of the week, all those girls had bad days. So we knew it was a matter of time before Corey gradually sneak her way up to these girls. You understand? So there's many reasons why we predict she was going to be this good, and many reasons why we knew what we had in front of her because of all these talent that she possesses. We knew at the consistent rate that she was having good practices, we knew the rest of the world was in trouble. We knew exactly what was coming for the rest of the world. Why? Because in the past, we have girls came to 4 good days a week and still became number 1 in the world. So we knew Corey had 6 good days of the week, and we knew this is the formula right here. Consistency, good practice makes steady improvement. Her improvement was just going up the whole time. There was no level. It was always going up. So she went from number 1 in Florida, number 1 in the region, number 1 in this the U.S., number 1 in the world. You know, she just kept going up more and more. Every year she'd go up. So because of all these, talent that she possesses, we knew exactly what she's going to do at the end of 10 years old, at the end of 11 years old, at the end of 12 years old. So all of us, we've made the same prediction that she will be the best doubles player in the world at 15 years old. We've made a prediction. You understand? Usually the girls, when they're that good at a younger age, 15, 16, they're going to become pro. Like Martina Hingis was number 1 in the world in doubles at 15 years old, then 16, number 1. So we made these bold predictions, what she was going to do at a certain time. And we were just a fraction off on a few of those, just a slightly off a little bit. And only reason why, because of her capabilities and her talent, whatever the talent was that we thought was the formula to become a good professional athlete, basically, not just tennis. I promise, if it was any other sports and the student is this discipline, I'm sure that student is going to be a good golfer, a good baseball player, whatever it is, it's the same. So yes, we knew what we were doing, the work regimen, and not just the work regimen, this how much hours she spent in the court, and then the quality of the hour that she spent in the tennis court. So we could not put any restriction on what her capability was. Why? Because she was the only one who could do this. So we cannot lower her level to everybody else's level to make everybody else feel good about how many hours she wants to practice. Understand? I remember the first time I watched Nadal play in Miami. I saw him when he was like 15 years old. I saw Nadal play in Miami. The 17-year-old boy going to play against the number 1 player in the world. He's playing against Federer at the time. And everything that we thought that was, the best tennis in the world, Nadal changed that philosophy in everybody's brain. You understand? We saw this kid at 17 years old beat Federer, you know that. And a lot of people always, the concept of who is the best tennis player in the world, Nadal was always beating Federer. The first time they played in Miami, Nadal said Nadal beat Federer. So I'm like surprised everybody, Federer is still, no, Nadal was always beating, even when he was 17 years old, still beating Federer in Miami. So the concept of what working hard is, and the first thing I heard all the commentators saying on television is how hard this kid works, and they didn't think it was going to last 2 years, 2 or 3 years, 25 years old, he retired. All the commentators, I promise you, all of them were saying the same thing. They're going to get hurt. And this guy's still playing tennis today, still playing tennis, you understand? So, as a development coach, sometimes we have to learn from the player. Other players we coach, we learn from Corey. Everybody learned from Nadal that your intensity. So Nadal pull everybody's game in a different dimension, the physical ability. He pull everybody. Everybody had to get fit. Djokovic, everybody had to get fit to beat Nadal. So he pulled everybody along with him. And if they weren't fit, they weren't going to be able to play with him on the tennis court. You understand? He will still beat them. So yes, as a development coach, that's something that we learn very, very, doesn't matter where we go in the world to find the players. There's a chance the player is good enough for us to learn from the player, not the player learning from us. At one point, we need to learn from the players who they are and what their capabilities are. You understand? So what I did to with Corey and the mom and the dad, I slightly kept them in a bubble a little bit. The mom was not allowed to talk to the other parents with the negative comments about why your daughter playing so much tennis, why is she doing so much footwork, why she spend so much time in the court with slide. So we will keep the mother away from. The mom would just have to sit in the corner by herself, which was exceptionally good. She did a good job of doing that. Not talking to all the other parents who had the negative stuff, because their kid is not doing it. So they think, okay, if their kid's not doing it or their kid's not capable of doing it, Corey not supposed to do it then. So we will shadow the parents, make sure they do not say these things to Corey. And this is a very good job Venus and Serena fathers did with the girls. If there was no Venus and Serena's father, there's no likely chance Venus and Serena would be number one in the world. Zero chance. Doesn't matter how talented they were, because the dad did a very good job at this, keeping their confident, their self-confident and the ability to work, and have faith in what they're doing, trust what they're doing, you understand? And to gradually go up. So there was nobody with any negative influence could penetrate Richard Williams' concept around the girls. They could not. Doesn't matter who they are. So this I learned from Serena and Venus' dad is you put a bubble around. When you have something special, you put a bubble around them and leave all the negative, comments and the negative parents and also other kids. I wouldn't let Corey go on the court with some kids because I didn't want her to also they influence her, and how what it is to get good, because we knew what she already have. She's got the talent. They don't. They only have the problem. They have the ability to concentrate for only 20 minutes. Corey had the ability to concentrate for 4 hours. So they cannot be in the same court. We cannot put them in the same. They cannot be in the same vicinity. You do not want those other kids around her to pull her back down. So we did not allow other girls to influence or penetrate this circle that we've set around, this bubble that we put them in, because of this situation. Understand? So yes, there is many circumstances where I've learned a lot from a lot of play, including Martin Hingis. I remember watching Martin Hingis practice at 15, 16 years old. Actually, maybe even younger. I remember, wow, that's a genius in the tennis court. I remember saying, oh, that's how did she do that? How did she do that? I remember talking to her mom, and the mom told me, a very simple concept. I'm like, wow, that's awesome. How good this girl was at a younger age. So many things also too I've learned from the mom of Martin Hingis and the dad of Venus and Serena. Somebody special, you keep the other stuff away from them, because the only thing can go wrong is mentally start losing their concentration, their focus, and their basically determination to get better. You understand? So we limited the amount of influence the other parents had on the mom. And I told the mom, and she listened. She just goes sit in the corner. She don't need to talk to everybody. She comes to a tennis lesson, focus on her kid only. She don't need to go talk to everybody else about their kid's lesson and everything. Focus on Corey. Stay and watch her play, support her, give her water, drink her. If I get too mad at her, your job is to calm her down a little bit, making sure everything is staying balanced. Understand? And the mom did an awesome job of controlling this environment. So yes, she had the ability to play 6-8 hours if we allowed her. She would have gone 8 hours, no problem.
It's so good to hear that. And obviously she was incredibly talented, and that aligned with an unbelievable work ethic and mentality, champion's mentality, the best coach in the world, amazing, stable parents.
Periods, yeah.
Then you have Sloane Stephens, and that story is fascinating as well, because you mentioned that Sloane was the strongest player you'd ever seen, the fastest player, but she had no technical fundamentals, and she really struggled to concentrate on the court. So could you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So Sloane was a unique situation where I remember the first day I met Sloane, the mom brought in the court, can you look at my daughter for 5 minutes? And I said, okay, bring her in. I remember Sloane, she must have hit 10 balls in the fence, like straight in the fence. And I remember the mom was saying to me, oh, very sorry, she misses so many balls. And I was thinking, okay, her technique was very flawed. Yes, her technique was very flawed. But still, she had the ability to hit the fence 10 times in a row. So what Sloane have, and she still's got up to today, is the ability, exceptionally good timing and range of motion. effortless power. So she was very strong, and I know her dad was a football player. She was very strong. I didn't know that I was a football player, but obviously we know now. But what I remember, she was very strong and very fast, but the technique was very bad. Very poor technique. I say bad, very poor technique, and yes, her concentration. But because of her technique was soft, her footwork was very soft, her speed was very, very good, and her the timing, effortless ball was like exceptionally well. So for me, that was 2 of 3 main ingredients for me to turn her into a good tennis player. So she had the physical ability and the ball striking abilities. The physical was one thing, strong was one thing. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to hit the ball hard, but the effortless power that she had I was amazed with that. And I remember I invited mom, to sit down, me and my wife, and me and my wife trying to convince and Sloane mom to bring her. She probably like, why would you want Sloane? You understand? But I had to sit down and convince her that I just hand off a couple other players to the United States Tennis Association, including my oldest daughter. I handed them off to and I need Sloane. I want her. She doesn't have everything perfect in the moment, but I can make her into a tennis player. I can teach her technique. I can teach her forehand. I can teach her. What we didn't know is mentally Sloane was always a little, weak in herself. You understand? And we didn't know it was going to take this long. We thought it's going to take a solid 5-6 months, and she got going. 8 months, 1 year in, we're still struggling with Sloane. You understand? So at one point, we were always thinking, is she ever going to make that transition? You understand? So it was always her. It wasn't the coaching. It wasn't the work. It wasn't the time. It was her giving into the requirements, the ability to bend her knees, the ability to take steps to the ball, the ability to relax, the ability to follow through, but the discipline to do it on a consistent, like we talk about core, on a consistent basis. She was not doing it. So, at times I could have said, okay, she's not going to get it. But I remember, again, the mom, she trusted what I was doing so much, or what I was saying to the daughter so much. She would have come, drop her daughter off, and said to her, I remember she's always saying to me, Sly, I trust you're going to fix it today, okay? And she was always motivating me as a coach. Your mom, this one's mom, telling me she knows I was going to fix Sloane's game. And every time I feel like I want to jump ship, Sloane is being a very, very hard. The mom, some way, somehow find a way to get into my head as a parent. Not many parents did that to me, but Sloane's mom did that to me. So I did not give up on Sloane. So our job was just to make sure we can get Sloane to hit 10 balls in a row in the court. And the mission was on. You understand? It was on. Trying to fix her technique a little bit, trying to fix her forehand. In Sloane's case, we changed her backhand, and we did not mess with the forehand too much. And the reason why we did not go to the forehand, because it took us so long to fix the backhand. Yes, it took us about 8-9 months to change Sloane's backhand. She had 2 Western. It was a very weird way. Both hand was actually Western in the racket. And it took us 8 to 9 months to change the backhand. And the forehand was still a little bit weak. She had a little Western grip. It wasn't a weak Western. It was a strong Western grip in her hand. But she was capable of hitting a very heavy, hard topspin in the ball. So we made a decision to stop there. Let her survive with the backhand that she's got. She's got enough power in the forehand with enough spin. If she can put 10 balls in the court, we knew almost every girl would have been in trouble. You understand? Because the ball was so heavy, hard with spin. So we sent her to the USTA to take a look at Sloane's game. Actually, mom took her there. And first thing they do, they try to change the forehand. And I went on the phone right away and said, no. Nobody touches the forehand. Because the forehand was not because they were wrong, but because I knew how long it was going to take for Sloane to adapt to the forehand if they change. Because the backhand took so long. You understand? So this is the difference between Corey and Sloane. Sloane, we change or something in her game, we'd have to break 6, 7, 8 months to change it. Corey, we could change it 1 month, 2 months. That's why I said the difference between Corey and Sloane at the moment. So we made a decision. I told him, Mom, tell, I remember it was when Bobby Bernstein, one of my friends from the UST. I said to Bobby, yes, you're right, Bobby, but the backhand took so long. Please do not get in your head about the forehand because or we'll go right back to zero if you make that change. So Bobby agreed, okay, let's not change. Let's maintain what we have and keep going. Sloane got to about 13 years old, 12 going to 13. And I didn't watch her play any matches for like 2 years. I took Sloane to the Orange Bowl. She was playing the number one girl in the tournament. The girl is from Canada. And I think it was a third round match, quarterfinal match. And I watched Sloane beat the number one 14-year-old in the world, 6-0, 6-0. Yes, I remember that match because I don't really usually watch Sloane play many matches. That was Sloane, the transition from age 11 and a half to 13 years old. Sloane made huge improvements. So we knew if she started hitting 10 balls around the court, we knew everybody's in trouble because how fast she was. We knew Sloane was the fastest 14-year-old probably in the world for sure. And maybe the strongest. So with those two, ingredients that she brought to the table, her talent, basically, we knew if you can get her to hit 10 balls in the court, the girl. And this is what happened to Sloane. Between age 11 and a half to age 13 and a half, 13, she made this huge jump, like got good very, very quickly. So Sloane made these big jumps because, her own talent plus the ability to find the tennis court when she wants to, it was. But her story was completely different from a lot harder than Corey to work, to get better, to do everything. But people always ask me that same question. What was your main challenge? And they all know it was Sloane. Everybody know. Everybody, everybody, fix me with Corey. But Sloane is, because of how hard the work was with Sloane, it sort of builds me as identity, who I am as a tennis coach, the patience to deal with the player. So when after Sloane, everybody else came after Sloane was easy. Every player that came after Sloane who had some sort of talent was easy after Sloane. So Sloane actually made a platform for me as a coach. None of my daughters was this difficult. All my daughters was very good workers, good. Sloane for me to achieve what we achieved with Sloane, that's for me. That's the high point of my coaching career. To be honest, Sloane was the one who made Coach Sly. Even though there was many players before her, so Sloane's even made Sly who Sly was. Who I am today is just the patient that dealt with what she was doing and what her weaknesses were, and we actually fixed the weaknesses in their game. Some players they don't recover from this kind of weaknesses. Some juniors. Sloane, her high point is from us. Our high point it was Sloane. Making this ability to become, a top player in the world, a US Open champion, number 2 in the world in WTA. For us to see Sloane do that, we knew everything else behind her had to be easier for sure. So when Corey walked on our court, we had no problem with Corey knowing how good Corey was going to be. You understand? We didn't have any second thoughts of what Corey was going to be. You understand? So Sloane paved the way for the philosophy of Sly Black to thrive the way it's thriving today.
Amazing. And why is it that you think it took her longer to grasp technical changes? You mentioned Coco was a month or two. She was a really fast learner. But Sloane, you mentioned it would take 8 or 9 months to make a change, and you were at it every day. And then you get some players who can just never make that technical change in spite of great coaching. They might have a great technical coach, and they just can't do that. Why is that?
Yes. So the players, they got different level of mental toughness, mental discipline. So this is where us as a coach, especially during my early age, we made the same decision on all the players, whether you got good mental toughness or bad. We did not put any gauges. You're number 6, you're number 7, you're number 8, you're number 9, or you're number 10. So all coaches made that this kid doesn't have the right discipline, so mental toughness, so we throw them in the bushes. Oh, that was a mistake. Yes. Every kid have the ability to get mentally better. Some is at number 2, some is at number 3, some is at number 4. We would love everybody to be at number 8, number 9, number 10, but not possible. Not all kids, is mentally locked in that way. Sloane, she was not even average in that mental category. She was way below average. Everything else in her game, her talent, her power, speed, her effortless swing was at number 10. So this is why she was very difficult with coping with changes and coping with adjusting. The consistency of her mental ability was up and down all day. Like we talked about, Corey was very consistent, very steady. Sloane was not. So we as coaches, we have to offset the player for who they are. You understand? We can't treat everybody under one umbrella and say, okay, you're this talent. Either you got it or you don't got it. No, there's different level of talent, the players. So as a development coach, you have to make that gauge and make a prediction that you can help this player in 5 months, help this player in 6 months. You have to forecast what that player is capable of doing or what you're capable of doing with this player, in 5 months, in 6 months, in 1 year, in 2 years. So there's many times, me as a coach, I've seen Corey winning the national champion, even before she won it. I vision her winning the national champion. I predict it was going to happen. I vision her. I can see it happening. As a development coach, you have to make that assessment whether or not you want to spend enough time, working this player to get the talent out of them that they actually have. They have it inside of them, and try and see how well you can nourish it. You understand? So that's what we do with Sloane. And it was a lot more difficult than everybody else, but it's more rewardable. You understand? I feel very honored to be a part of who got it out of her. You understand? Not many coaches wanted to do it. Every coach that I remember, going to IMG and me and her there, and I remember we driving back home in the car, and it wasn't a good drive back home because they basically said no. You understand? And I'm thinking, oh, what the heck? We drove all the way here, and they said not yet, or it's not time yet. I remember that. It was a very long drive back home. 3 hours too. And so for her, at that moment, I could have just drum shipped at that moment. But, I've been doing the same thing over and over then for like about almost 18, 20 years already. So I knew this was false. I knew it was a lie. The guys, they do not want to do their work. They do not want to do their job. They don't have enough patience to figure out what someone's got and what she needs and to deal with it and to work. Everybody's open for a Coco to turn up in front of them with talent, you understand? Many different talents. All the coaches would love for that. But there's many kids who fall along the pathway because of this concept with all the coaches. They'll say, okay, you can have this or have that. And some kids develop a lot later than some, mentally. Yes, so you cannot grade all the kids in the same category. 10 years old, you should be this mental tough. No, there's other assets in their game that they can keep improving on until their discipline of the mental toughness comes to that point. You understand? So do not judge the kid at 10 years old from one talent only and say, oh, you're bad at this. So no. You need to get this good stuff going and work on the other stuff and wait for them at one point they align with each other. You understand? Yes. So the alignment comes with the physical, the mental, and the technical ability. Yeah, it's basically 3 categories. So if your technique is not the best, your footwork might be okay, your physical ability might be okay, and your mental toughness might be okay. You understand? So you keep those talents going, and then eventually at one point, they align with each other. You understand? This is where the miracle happened, when all of them align with each other. So yes, Sloane was very difficult, but what it taught many coaches that all of this is not just one way of doing anything at all. Everybody is different timing, different rate of development. And it's the same thing in China. I look at the girls in China, mentally, at 14 years old, I was teaching the girls in China at 14 years old, the national players. Stuff I'm talking to them at 14 years, they were like surprised when I said this kind of stuff. That stuff I taught Corey when she was 8 years old. So their maturity level, development was, 7, 8 behind Corey, development-wise. So, you can see then it makes a lot more sense now why these Chinese players, they're developing late into their 20s, early 30s, they're getting better at doing that because now they're mentally getting tougher and all this concept is coming together now. So yes, you cannot grade all the players with the same level of technical formation, physical ability, and mental toughness. Everybody got some. The talent level is higher than or less than some. So Sloane was okay on the lower end, but that didn't mean she cannot or she could not do it. Obviously we saw the result, of what she accomplished. You understand?
Yeah, so your coaching philosophy, you place a huge emphasis on technique. But
Yeah.
what you're saying is that to develop great technique, you say the best players in the world have the best technique, but to develop the best technique, everything has to align. It has to be the footwork, the mental toughness, the discipline, the swing path, the stroke mechanics, and the psychology of just showing up day after day. So, a lot of coaches, including myself, when I coach my daughter, I can be too focused on the swing path when maybe it's the footwork or physically she's not quite strong enough or she doesn't have that concentration or timing. So would that encapsulate your philosophy that everything has to align together to be able to develop great technique, and that the best players in the world do have the best techniques?
Yes, it takes a lot of work. Eventually, what is technique? You understand? There's good technique and there's better technique. There's technique that, as a development coach, I would look at a kid, maybe 8, 9, 10 years old, and look at them and say, okay, they're weak right now, so this will take a lot longer to get to a certain point. Or they're growing right now. That's another very important one. They're growing, so there's no way they're going to be hitting any ground strokes, like a Serena, basically, and they're in this growing sport, growth sport. So, what is good technique? So, from my own perspective, what I'll do with the players is something like Sloane. We knew that to work. We've been coaching tennis for a long time. We knew we don't know everything. But what we know for sure is we know many bad things. So when we see a bad thing, we can tell, okay, that's not going to get you anywhere at all. You understand? Because of my experience over the years. So eventually one day the biometrical and the technical formation in the game of tennis might evolve into something special. But what we know for sure is what went bad in the past. You understand? What the game did not evolve into. So for Sloane, we knew it was about technique. There's no way to put it to you. That's why no coaches wanted to even go in the corridor, because there's a lot of stuff going on all over the place. You understand? It looks weird. If it looks a little bit weird, there's a likely chance it's weird. So what we knew is we would have to make a long-term goal, not a short-term goal, a long-term goal to improve in this area over and over, work in this area over and over for a long period of time. Well, we did not know it was going to take this long, but that's a different story. That's from a mental point of view. Some players, we knew they'll fix something by themselves. Even if we don't tell them, they have the mental toughness. They might be a little bit weak right now, but we knew eventually they will follow through properly, whatever the follow through is. You understand? So we knew, what's going to work its way out of the player's game, or what's going to work its way reverse into the player's game. So we have to make these bold predictions. And as a development coach, and that's why it's very important maybe too, for the young players or the young coaches or the parents who want a kid to become a professional, get the highs from a professional, somebody who's done it before, somebody who got a track record of doing it before. So this is where Venus Serena and Dad did again. He found Rick Macy at that point and spent a year or whatever it was, 12 months developing a certain base of technical formation, discipline for the game of tennis. So this a little base, you understand? So the dad did that, and then he took the rest on by himself after that. But yes, you go to a coach who have done it, who have got a track record of doing it, and they will give you a good assessment. Okay, we need to do this now, and we need to do this later. You understand? So again, it becomes confusing if the person who's giving you, the direction, giving you, wrong direction, basically. You understand? Then it becomes confusing for you. It's not that confusing. You understand? It is not. If some things look a little bit weird, there's a likely chance. If the string looks a little bit weird, if it doesn't look naturally, there's a likely chance something is wrong with it. You understand? Does it need to be perfect? No. But you have to have, again, at least a number 7, number 8 basic technique, a swing, a contact point, the biometry from below the ball, up through the ball. This is what the evolution of the game of tennis says. So we cannot change that. This is what the game evolved into. So if it doesn't align with that, there's a likely chance it's, in this case, it's wrong. It's a bad technical formation. You understand? Every player possesses the ability to have an okay technique. So it's not two technique, bad and good. There is different levels of technical formation. So some kids are 10, 11 years old. They only at number 7. It's not number 10 yet. But the stuff that they're doing wrong is because of the circumstance at the moment. It wasn't because of bad technical formation. We knew that was going to get better. We can tell from the mental toughness of the player that, they're going to get it. You understand? They're going to get at least up to a number 8 or number 9. But it cannot be one umbrella for good, bad, technical formation. So, yes, I think it's a good idea for the parents or young coaches to get some sort of help from somebody who've done it before to give you some sense of direction. Is this going to work? Is that not going to work? I remember coaches talking to me when I was coaching my first daughter. That was my first student, my oldest daughter, Nicole. I remember coaches, I told you the story about Mary Jo Fernandez said to me, there's a lock is a hitch in her forehand where she's pulling her body up to swing the racket. And I'm like, she's beating everybody, Mary. She's killing everybody. She's number 1 in the world, 12 years old. She's beating everybody. Nobody's beating her. By the time my daughter got to 14 years old, I remember she was playing Australian Open Junior or something like that. And I remember watching Sharapova hitting the ball at her. Sharapova was young. Sharapova was like 13 or 14 too. And the speed that was coming from the other side of the court. And I watched my daughter just trying to block, the ball. But I'm like, wow. That was a mind opener for me right there. All this time I was thinking because my daughter was stronger than everybody else, hitting the ball harder than everybody else. Everybody else was defending. All of a sudden, everybody else is hitting the ball hard, which everybody do in the future. And then all of a sudden, it's reversing because of we didn't take that flaw or a hitch out of a game, you understand? So every player come after that, I make sure we did not leave too much of a hitch in your game up to a certain age. You understand? We will spend time making sure we iron out. And if it gets to a certain point where it becomes very bad, we'll stop tournaments for a while and just make sure that is out. You understand? So this was something that we were very thorough at doing, making sure the kids. I remember my kids go to tournament and all the coaches would send a recommendation. Wow, Sly, we saw your kid playing a tournament and they didn't miss a ball. They made 4-4 Sarah the old match. Stuff like that. That's the coaches sending. They watch some of my players playing. Wow. How did they do? Because this concept, we were reinforcing this concept every single day. And it's no different from a professional player at the moment. The professional players nowadays, you watch them train. I watched Nadal train in Beijing. I took the Chinese, when I was coaching the Chinese national, the juniors, I took them to watch Nadal train. 1 hour, 45 minutes only on the inside of forehands. Wow. This guy into the doubles alley hitting the forehand every single ball and back to the middle of the court. 1 hour and 45 minutes. So when I explained to them, see how the professional players, see how thorough and how hard they work to be with, get where they are. They work. You understand? So this whole idea, your technique is good at 10 years old, 11 years old, and it's going to be the same at 25 years old. No, the work got to keep going. You got to continue. And once you get to that point, then you got to have to maintain it at that point, or don't maintain it, you lose it, or somebody else is getting better than you at the same time. So, it's what the game demands. The evolution of the game of tennis is becoming more and more technical. So if you have a bad technique for the future, there's a likely chance you will not get to television. Every guy I see on TV, there's a couple of guys I see, a couple of things I would fix. But there's not really any bad technical formation. You understand? Some is just better than some. Yes, the others are just way better than the others. But like for example, footwork. I don't see any guys with bad footwork. Some guys' footwork is just better than some, but everybody got good. So same thing with the technique. The evolution of the game is becoming so much faster. The requirement to have the right biometrics, the right technical formation will become essential. Essential because you have to be able to control what's coming from the other side of the court. Your technical formation got to be able to control the ball that's coming from the other side of the court. So not only your power, like I did it with my oldest daughter, I was concentrating on her power, I wasn't concentrating on the power that's coming from the other side of the court. So when the power started coming from the other side of the court, I was in a shock. You understand? So as a coach, I make sure that didn't happen to me anymore. I'm not gonna get caught with that mistake again. So yes, the evolution of the game of tennis says your technical formation need to be at a very high level, if not the highest level possible, to become the best player in the world. You understand? It's almost impossible, at the stage that is going right now. The game of the tennis right now, the depth of the game of tennis, especially in the women, is getting so much stronger now. You can see girl 150 in the world beating a top 10 player now, no problem, in the women. So the depth is good. So the evolution of the game is, if your technical formation is flawed to a certain point, there's a likely chance you will not get to television. You're not going to be on you're not going to be on TV. You're not going to get to that point. You understand? So yes, it's very, very important for the future, for anybody going forward, to learn the right biometric and the right technical formation of the game of tennis. You understand? Which is going to help them evolve into something special.
And then with parents and players that are getting results at a young age, but maybe they have technical deficiencies, they have to think about the long term. And to make those technical changes, they're going to lose for a while. They're going to struggle because it takes 2, 3, 4 months, depending on how long it takes. And what's so interesting about that is just your winner's mentality and your ability to keep evolving as a coach and continuously learning, recognizing that you had coached your daughter, but only taught her how to create power and not handle pace. And then you were able to adapt and change your coaching style. And I think that's what makes you one of the best coaches ever. And we see that across the board of the CoachLife content. And one interesting story is that once we launched the site and it was ready to go, or we hadn't launched it, we were 2 weeks away from launching it, but we'd finished all the content. We sent the site to all the coaches, and within a week, almost all the coaches had watched all the content from the other coaches, because they're constantly trying to learn and improve. And I know you mentioned that in your content that you would always bring your players to other coaches to get their opinions. And I thought that was really interesting.
Yes, and so this is part of the reason why, before, I'm not afraid of taking my kids to, other coaches, and people always say, why do you do that? And then why? There's there's a very slim chance my kid will ever leave me for, that's what I'm saying. So other coaches are scared because they're thinking, they got to protect themselves or protect the player from other coaches and stuff. I wasn't afraid of doing that. I remember dropping my daughters off to Nick Bolletary and Sloane and them, drop them off, and I'm out fishing. I went out there and I watched them training, and I seen these girls working the hardest they ever work on the tennis court. I'm not going to be offended about that because of how hard they're working. I got to be honest and say these girls are working. You understand? They're working with a sense of purpose. And let me relax. I want to go fishing. I go fishing and come back 2 hours. I come back 2 hours. They're still playing. They're still, going at it with Nick. And people, why you let Nick coach you? I'm like, what? What are you worrying about Nick? Do you see how hard the girls are working? Do you see how well the girls are working? So what I used to do with the other girls, for Corey, I invited John Everett. I read Bill Adams. I invite the USTA coaches. I remember who was the president of the USTA then? It was John McEnroe. Corey was 8. I invite John McEnroe to look. Martin Blackman. I invite them. They're players and they're ex-coaches. I invite them over to watch Corey, and exactly what I was thinking. Exactly what all of them says. I used to put 12 girls on a court and invite the coaches to come and watch. And all of them would pick Corey out of the 12 girls. So this for me wasn't just for, I would have put the girls, all them good girls, and everybody would come and say, "Oh, the girl in the purple shirt, wow, look at her work. Look at the way she's working. Look at her concentration. Look at her determination." And these are what I'm hoping the coaches will say to me. You understand? This is the thing I'm looking for. You understand? I know what good they are. I know these are good coaches. So I know what they've worked with many champions before, just like I did. And I'm just listening what they're saying, understand what they're saying. I'm like, oh, got it. You understand? Yeah, it's very simple. As soon as they give me the input what I was waiting to hear, then I'm like, okay, got it. That's it. You understand? Done. Job well done. And back to work again. I wasn't afraid to invite coaches over. I remember Janivert came, and one day, and Janivert look, they said, Janivert is there, and he said to me, Sly, that forehand is very good, but you got to take care of that hitch on the back end. What is it? What would I hitch on the back end? I remember for 4 straight months, Corey was hitting backhand. I remember he was right. He wasn't wrong. Janivert was right. But I remember for 4 straight months, I'm like, darn it, I saw it too, John. You know, but I didn't tell him I saw it, you know, but it's in my head. So for 4 straight months, I make sure the backhand is smooth for 4 months, smooth. You understand? So I wasn't afraid to have other coaches, I invite other coaches come in and look at the players and see how they evolve and how they're working and put their input. And as sometimes I used to send the players to that coach sometime. You know, just go work for one day. Just go play some tennis and come back. You understand? So there's many reasons why other coaches won't want to do that, wouldn't want to do that. But just me, that's Sly. I'm not afraid of the other coach who is, and you know, what I'm sure of is I'm capable of doing just as good a job as that coach or maybe better. So I wasn't afraid of it. And not only that too, it would be very greedy of me to hamper the kid's development just because I think, you know, the kid will go like another coach or go to another coach or something. I would never do that. You understand? You know, I've always said that to Corey's dad is whatever you're doing, you make sure Corey turn up for a lesson. Doesn't matter what, whether a tournament or go out of pace play matches, whatever it is, make sure she turns up every day before. And this guy, make sure Corey turns up. Whether she's going to play a practice match, she turns up for a match. She's going to play she's turning up for a practice. She's going to play drills with a USTA. She come do her lesson first. Corey, you know, many times Corey's got a final and Saturday and Sunday evening, it rain. Monday, she have to go play the final on Monday. I'm thinking they're not coming to lessons. I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to have a good morning, this rest. Did that call me? Hey, Slide, 6:30, can Corey do a lesson? I'm like, holy damn, to Corey, let her go play the match. Come on, let her go play the match. Yes, she turned up for a lesson. 6:30 in the morning before she go play her finals at the tournament. And this was just a local tournament. This happened for 5 straight years. The dad make sure she's there every day for her practice. It doesn't matter where she's going, what tournament she's playing. When I leave the US, it was a Tuesday morning. I remember that. Corey was warming up in Orange Bowl for a quarterfinal match in Orange Bowl. I went to warm her up in the morning for Orange. They didn't know I was leaving. I went to warm up Corey for a match practice. She did a lesson in the morning before she go play a quarterfinal Orange Bowl match. That's the last time I played Corey. That was before Orange Bowl. Orange Bowl is 45 minutes drive to Miami, and they came to do the lesson before they go into play the Orange Bowl quarterfinal match. They did not miss a lesson. There was consistency right across the board for five straight years. You know, that's incredible stuff. You understand? So I would not sacrifice a player because I think, okay, I got to keep them because I don't want any other coach to look at them. No. There's other good. I'm not the only good coach. There's many other good coaches. You understand? What I'm not afraid of is to outcoach them. I'm not afraid of outcoaching any coach. You understand? Give me a 12-year-old kid and they have a 12-year-old kid. There's a likely chance in 3 years. There's a likely chance my kid is going to win. You understand? So I'm not afraid of doing that. As a coach, I'm very competitive. You understand? I like the challenge. That's why I love the guy, John Everett, so much. I like him to be on the other side of the court when my player is on the other side of the court. This is a guy I want to be on the other side of the court at all times. You know, even when I used to practice at John Everett sometime, I used to play doubles against him all the time. I want to play doubles against him. You know, this is guy I want to be on the side. So I love as a coach, I love the challenge too. You understand? So I'm not afraid to have other coaches come in and give input on my student, especially if I think he's a good student. I will never stop that. You know, that's always going to be a part of what I do.
And obviously you had quite a small boutique academy, and that was by design because you wanted to produce champions, which you did. But at any time you could have had hundreds of kids, made a lot more money, but ultimately it was all about you becoming the best coach in the world and producing champions, US Open champions. So do you ever look back and regret that you didn't sort of, you know, take the money and have 100 kids in an academy or 200 kids? And do you think when kids go to academies like that, it's possible to make it in that environment?
Yes, it is possible to make it in that environment. So as a player, as a coach, I've experienced a lot doing in the academies. You understand? So I started as a hidden partner in the academies. I've seen many good kids come there and leave. Terrible, like way worse than they came to the academy. And so what I knew is the formula to build a champion got to be more individualized. You understand? So it's very difficult to have 8 kids on a court and working in a group session with a coach who's never done this before, never been like player like that before. So what I knew earlier on in my coaching career, that the game of tennis is a more individualized. It's a private lesson. That doesn't mean you don't do the group or do match play. You do, but it's a consistent, daily, regimen to make sure you come out, you do your private lesson and get some sort of individual attention to become, the best in the world. So that's what we're trying to be, the best in the world. I'm not trying to be the best in Florida. I'm not trying to be the best in the US. I want to be the best in the world. As a coach, I walk into the Orange Bowl and I look at my player, and my player is on the top or the bottom. So they are the number 1 and number 2 seed in the tournament. And I have a sense of achievement because there's millions of kids playing tennis all over the world. Your player or my daughter, she's number 1 on the paper in the draw. You understand? It's a good sense of achievement. If you're a coach and you don't feel that way, there's a likely chance either not a good coach or you don't love the game, that you don't want to build a player. You understand? Yes. My deep philosophy is the way I watch Rick Macy, watch Serena Venus, watch Nick Bollettieri, is these guys, they call me 3 a.m. in the morning talking to me about a match that their girl played the day before and lost. I remember telling Nick Bollettieri, Nick, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, Nick. Why you can't come at 3 o'clock? I got to be in the court at 5 o'clock. Nick, he calling me talking about Sasha's Vicar backhand or Sloane mental. He talking to me about it. So if you're a coach and you go home at night and you're not feeling this, you can't get some sleep sometime because your kid messed up. There's a likely chance you're not producing. There's a likely chance. You understand? So yes, you have to have that eagerness to know what's working and what's not working. So at the beginning stage of my career, I saw the academies how they work, whether it was Nick Bollettieri, Rick Macy, or Christopher Tennis Academy. I was there watching the players getting better. I was there watching Andy Roddick's getting better. You understand? I was watching them. And their program was a lot different from everybody else's program. Their program was tailor-made and individualized inside of that surrounding. You understand? So I knew from this experiment and my experience, I knew I had a 75% the formula to build a player. To set up the right environment, the right inning coaches, the right fitness coach, the right this, and also the right group environment and the right the right set of self-belief and confidence that we engrave in the surroundings. You understand? So we will pick these players, put the rackets in their hand, basically, and in 3-4 years, they all became exceptionally good players, top in the US or top in the world. And we did it 4 different times. It usually takes about 4 or 5 years. And the last one was China. We went to China. It's the same. I told them they cannot build champions in 1 year. It's going to take 4 or 5 years with the younger one, 12-year-olds. You understand? So this is a concept I gave to China same. So we did that over and over and over, but it was individualized. You understand? Yeah. So when I built my academy in Florida, it wasn't so much I would love to make a lot of money. So it wasn't so much of the money, is so much I want to build the players. You understand? So what we were doing is we were making a girl who walk in, and we had the experience that we have there. All the experience we did over the years, the coaches who were there, they're well dialed in. They're well tuned in. They know everything that we're going to do because we've done it over and over since Venus and Serena. We've done it over and over. So they knew exactly what they're doing. Some coaches concentrate only on footwork. Some coaches concentrate only on serve. Some coaches concentrate on high ball. Some coaches concentrate on the match play. So we got coaches there for different reasons. But it was all individualized. Every player will be attached to a coach. One of the coach that makes sure they do the same thing every day. So once you get a bunch of kids together and throw them on a court without no sort of logic or it's very difficult for that formula to work. So they always question why most academies doesn't work. This is the main reason why it can work if they individualize the pair. But it's set up a way that financially they have to make a certain amount of money to run an academy. That's one thing. So that's another thing you don't want to get caught up in. But it's customized for that reason, to have a group of kids together. So now if you get caught up in that circle like that, there's a likely chance you only get in 25% of the work that you're supposed to get in to become a professional tennis player. So we're talking about being a good player. We're not really talking about a high school or a low-grade college player. We're talking about being the best in the world. So what I'm saying to you, from my experience, going from way back, from my hidden coach days, I know that it's going to take a lot more than a group of kids together to build a player. I knew. So that's why, during our second stage of development with the kids, the second group of girls, we had the same group of girls became, and I told you before, there's 6 girls in that group, about 12 girls. 6 of them was in the semifinal Orange Bowl one year in 2008. I think it was 2008. 6 girls we had in the semifinal of Orange Bowl. Just think about that for a second. All them came. We have all them in pictures when they were like babies, like 6 years old. Sloane was one of the older ones. She was probably 9 or so, but or 10. But all of them, they're on the same picture, and you can see all of them. They at the beginning stage where they're playing tennis, and all of them became. But the program, what we had, it was customized for each one of them. It wasn't just one group of girls just playing tennis. So this is a very, very interesting topic that academies don't want to hear. But yes. You cannot come. Sharapova went to Knit Voluntary Tennis Academy. Yes, she's got a customized program inside of Knit Volley Tennis Academy, not the Knit Volley Tennis. She have her own customized, a private hitting or private coaching, 4:30 in the morning on the court playing tennis. She got a private fitness, so it's not a group of kids. So the chance of that, for you to work like that, it becomes a lot more difficult if you only get in 25% of work that you're supposed to get to become a professional tennis player. If anybody else is getting 100%, there's no likely chance you deserve to be that player. You understand? So yes, we did a very good job of customize it and keep it as small as possible, as convenient as possible, affordable as possible for the players to thrive in that environment and not overdoing by having too many kids, and then it becomes fluffed out basically and not producing as many players. And did I regret it? No, I did not regret. And my old coaching philosophy over the since day one, I wanted to be one of the best coaches in the world. You understand? I really wanted to be one. So that's why when players come on my tennis court and they tell me they want to be the best in the world, I could see where they're coming from, because as a coach, I had the same philosophy in my head. You understand? You heard the story about Corey. At 6 years old, she told me she wanted to be the best in the world. And I freaking believe her. You understand? Yes, I believe her, because I remember at 12 years old, I'm looking at Desmond coaching. I'm like, wow, I want to be, that's what I want to be the best. You understand? I want to be the best. So yes, we figure out a very good formula of developing the kids into a tight-knit environment, not too many kids, but was very, very successful. At that time, there was a few places around the world doing what we were doing at that time. And the only reason why they were doing that, because they will travel the world and buy the players from each country and then put them together. Like Martin Luger did. They went to give all the kids scholarship from all over the world. We did not do that. We put the racket in the kid hand and we make them world champions. Yes, we did. We did not. We didn't have the finance to do that. The financial support to do that. We put the racket in their hand and we made them world champions. Not US, and we were in a, so that's for me is a very fulfilled feeling to know. Wow, I remember when I put a racket in a person's hand, that girl's hand. You understand, that boy's hand, and they know they're world champion. For me, that's what I coach. That's the reason why I coach. You understand? Yes, there's a lot of chance I could be in Jamaica, coaching at the all-inclusive hotel, getting free hotel, partying all night, all the food all the drink I can drink, and getting paid to do it. I'm not doing it. It's not time yet. People always ask me, why don't you go back and go do that? No, I'm not ready for it yet. My mindset is still on getting better and winning, you understand? So maybe one day I'll do that, but it's not time yet.
Yeah. I'll be there with you. I'll join you.
Yeah, you can. No problem.
Yeah. And what's fascinating and amazing is you went to China and you were involved in going to the different regions of China and picking the best players, talent spotting the best players. So could you tell us a little bit about that and your ability to pick so many great players and put a system in place that has now developed 7 top 100 players from China and obviously Qinwen Zhang, who's number 4 in the world. And you were responsible for that.
Yeah, yes, there was other coaches there too. I employ other coaches. I would love to take all the credit for it. But yes, I was a big part of I was invited to China by the Chinese Tennis Association. Actually, then Wang Xingyu, the girl, she's number 20 in the world. Her dad was the top coach in China then, head coach for Chinese national team. So he invited me to come to China to help them develop, some sort of program to help them build an Olympic team. You understand? So it was only supposed to be a 3 to 6 month thing because Olympic was in the summer. I went there in December. So Olympic was supposed to be in the summer. So we went there and I looked at the players and I thought these players were good. I'm like, wow, look how hard they hit the ball. Look how well they hit the ball. And I said to them, okay, how many players do you have on the team for the Olympic? They said one girl. It was Shaw Peng, the 2-on-4 and 2-on backhand girl. She was the only one. They had number 100 in the world or something like that. And I'm like, wow, so what's the ranking? What's the cutoff? They said the girls have to have a certain ranking to make the team to go to the Olympics. I think that's the rules in the Olympic. I'm not sure. But I remember they only had one girl. And, I said, okay, let's, get some WTA tournaments and give the girls wild card and see if they can get some points, so give them wild card and see if they can win a few matches and get wild card, get WTA points. And I remember when I got there, I even came up with the idea why they only have one tournament in China at that time. They had one WTA tournament. They did not allow to, I don't know if they were allowed to, but they were only having one tournament. I said, why not run 2 or 3 tournaments at a time together? 3 different, a 25K a year, a 15K a year, and a 75K and a WTA. And they said, oh, we didn't know we can do our, whatever it was. But I remember the conversation is in Europe, they got 2 tournaments in France, 2 in Spain, they got tournaments everywhere. But China only have 1 tournament every time. I said, okay, many tournaments. You don't need to do 1 tournament. Make many different sites and many different tournaments. I remember they gave the girls wild card, and in 6 months, I remember they had, I think 6 or 7 girls going to the Olympics. So, I didn't do nothing much. We just came with the idea with the other coaches about having more tournaments. And the girls got WTA points. So now they're qualifying for the Olympics. They got 6 or 7 players going to the Olympics. So my job is finished. I thought I'm going to go, go to Thailand and relax for a few years and chill a little bit. They came to me and said to me, job well done with the WTA girls. Can you do the boys now? Can you do the young kids, the young players? I'm like, well, what do you mean can you do young players? We would love for you to stay and take over the junior development. I'm like, what? That's a huge job. That's bigger than the U.S. because you got 1.3 billion, 1.4 billion people, to become development coach, especially for the boys because they never had any boys in the past. So I said it's gonna take a lot. That's a lot of work, and I'm gonna be on the court 8, 9, 10 hours every day again. And they said, oh, please, we'd love for you to stay. We'll pay you, And I said, okay, I can do a few months. So that was about June or July, just right after the Olympics. I said, let's travel the country, pick some players, some young ones, young juniors, and see if we can build a squad. You understand? So they agreed. So we pick a squad. 32 players from we travel all over the country, pick the players. It was amazing. Oh, we were in the middle of nowhere in the mountains, and we see some players. I'm like, where do you learn to do that? Oh, they saw it on TV, or they're good players. These girls, they hit the ball 100 miles per hour. They got to be a little bit more to the hitting. But for us, that's for a girl. That's huge for a girl. You understand? So we pick the squad, pull them together. And where were we? I don't remember. But it's probably in Beijing. I remember. Yes, it was in Beijing. So we, pick the squad, invite coaches from different parts of the world, from Argentina. I remember there was a coach from Europe, coach from Argentina, a couple coaches maybe from the U.S., fitness coach from Europe. And we put the squad together. So I told them it's going to take me about 2 or 3 weeks to pick the team. They said, why so long? I want to see the players, the way they train, the way they... everything. I want to see the appearance. I want to see everything before I pick because now they want me. They want my credibility to pick the team. So I say, okay, let's do it. We're going to have practice session, 1-2 weeks practicing and then 1 week tournaments, but only those players. And that's what we did. We had meeting every day. And what happened? Some kids were, they were supposed to be 13 years old. I remember that. But then they looked like they're 16, 17. You understand? So I told them, we can find out if this player is really their real age. You understand? We don't have that problem in the U.S. because in the U.S. it's very difficult to change the birth certificate and stuff like that. It took him a nightmare to change it. So they agreed to get a European doctors and a Chinese doctor to test the bone scan to see, the real age of the kids. Because I was fully in. I said, I want everything done. And they said, yes, we'll do. So they took the bone scans. Some players were, and it wasn't that far. They look older, but they were actually maybe 1 year older than what they said. I don't think it was they were lying. I just think the bone scan said only 1 year up or 1 year down. So they were actually right in the margin. So I said, okay, good. Let's play the tournament then. So we had the tournament. We picked the team. Another thing, I remember there was one boy, he beats everybody. He cheats the whole time. He just dinks all the ball back in the court. He pushes all the ball. And it was bad technique. It was just more him just sneaking his way through everybody. Understand? And I remember I didn't put him on the I had a paper after we did everything. I had a paper. I had to put the name of the players who I think. Everybody got to bring their players to me. Surprisingly, everybody who came back, there were 6 other coaches. All of them came back. They didn't put this boy on the list. So I asked all the coaches why they didn't know I didn't put him on the list either. They said he cheats. Every day he just cheats. The cheating wasn't the problem, but the way he was doing it, and efficiency that he was doing it, and the way his game was. So there's quite a few things that changes their mind that he's not supposed to be in the team. You understand? And there was players who did not win all the matches, who worked hard, did what we did ask them to do in the practice. Cleaning up their technical formation. You could tell they're very eager to learn. They want to learn, and they were improving. In 2 weeks, you can tell their technique was improving, their footwork and their ability to stay mentally tough. A lot of things was improving in 2 or 3 weeks. Those players, we put them on the list. So I hired the coaches. All the coaches, they did not know I had that boy off the list. When I showed them I did not have the boy, and everybody was surprised too. All of them, just as surprised I was surprised them. So yes, we played the tournament, put the matches together, and put the players together, and said, okay, this is the team. We're gonna we trained for a couple months. We're in China, I think it was Guangzhou training, and then they wanted to go visit. They want to know if I can get my own team now to keep them in China or wherever. We were actually thinking about Thailand for a little bit. So now I said, no, keep the same coach because they're working very good. So they took all the coaches and went to, I think it was Nadal Academy in Spain. And the COVID hit. So all those players, they got caught in Spain. I remember they had to take a private jet to go get them in Spain to take them back to China. I don't know why. COVID got very bad in Spain. It ripped through. It was very bad there. And they had to go pick up players. But that was just before the COVID. They came back into China, and then the things went south for a little bit. And then after the COVID, because in China, they're very disciplined with this COVID thing. So then nobody could play tennis. Then they put the players back together. And actually, some of the players actually went out back to Europe to train because China was not open after they still could not play. They did not allow them to play. So many of the players, some was here training with me in Hawaii, and some was still in China playing, in Europe playing. They went back to Europe right after the COVID when it calmed down a little bit, when they could play. But yes, that was a story about the China. And 5 years later, the same players that we pick and put in a team, and the concept about inviting the coaches, invite outside influence from abroad, different coaches, different mindsets, basically works. You understand? It works, and not only works. I'm just surprised at the efficiency of how it works. How many of them went through with each other. You understand? Now there's like 3 guys in the top 100 now in the men's in China, from China. 3. And before there was none. The girls, obviously the result with the girls, how many of them. So, it was supposed to be a long-term, development plan, and they did a very good job doing it. And I'm sure they're still doing it right now. You understand? So in 4 or 5 more years again, you'll have another, 10 players, girls and boys like that, just, flowing up the ranking in the WT and the ATP for sure, because they got a little momentum going right now, and they're going to keep it going. So the success, story in China is, I was just happy to be a part of it, to know that it worked outside of my comfort zone, Europe or the US, and then go to China. And, you see the same concept, a good customized program with the right amount of brains around you, and a good information, and it helps them really propel to a very high level in the world of tennis. And the world better be careful, because there's a likely chance it's going to keep going for like this for 10 years for China. What that means, there could be, 20 girls from China in the top 100 in the world. That would be awesome. In 5-7 years, you understand? So the world need to take a good and keep a good aim of making sure China not, coming out and beating everybody, understand? But they did the same exactly, and I was happy to be a part of that process. A very, 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 very good experience to me to do it outside of my comfort zone in the US, to go to China and do the same thing.
Yeah, to do something that you don't normally do. Normally you're on the court every day, but now you're sort of involved in the overall production, getting other coaches. But what I thought was interesting when you talked about volume of tournaments creates champions, volume of tournaments close to home in your environment that you're used to playing in. And you see so many tournaments in China now, and that is definitely one of the reasons why they're producing so many players. I remember when I was growing up in Australia, or when I started playing on the tour, set between 17 and 24, there was one challenger in Australia. Yeah. And it was at the end of the year in December. Then you look at countries like Spain or the US, they have 20 or 30 challengers every year where they can drive there. Their coach can come. They're close to their family. It doesn't cost a lot. We were in Australia, and it's the same in China. We had to travel all the way to the other side of the world. The expense of going to a different tournament every week, the pressure, you're away from family. Yeah, I know one of our other coaches on Coach Life. You probably know him, Stan Boster. He was the junior coach of Andy Roddick and Marty Fish, and he worked for the USTA for a while.
Yeah, I know after the.
Yeah, that was one of the suggestions that he made to the USTA, that they just didn't have enough challengers. And I think around that time it was maybe less than 10 challengers a year. And he said, "Look, guys, it needs to be 20 or 30 challengers," and that sort of coincided with that period where there was Fritz and TFO and Paul, and they were obviously coached by two of our other coaches that are also on Coach Life, Guy Fritz, who's Taylor Fritz's dad, but also Diego Moyano, who you probably know as well.
Yeah, I know, did.
Yeah. So yeah, we've got some amazing coaches on Coach Life, but yeah, definitely the volume of tournaments creates champions.
Yes, so it's something for the players to look forward to, knowing they have tournaments, knowing they need to work hard, knowing, and also to very close to the environment. If I live in Florida and I know there's a tournament in the West Palm Beach professional tournament, that confident and a mindset to get ready to go play the tournament, and then another one up the road in Georgia, somewhere up the road. It's very important, and the consistency of it, because it will put that player into a lax where, okay, I do not need to work that hard. I don't have nothing coming up at a tournament. Okay, might have one in Spain in 4 months from now. I go over there on ready to play, lose first round, go back home, and then have nothing again. You understand? So yes, each country should have some sort of level of consistency with the tournaments and the quality of the tournament they have. That's obviously we talk about China. They did that, and makes a little surrounding for those players, knowing that little comfort for them to know that they can go play tournaments almost every week, every month if they want, couple weeks a month if they want to. So it's a huge part of should be a huge part of every country's development program, whether it's a junior section with junior ITF tournaments or the professional stages, the professional tournaments, ATP and WTA tournaments.
And do you think that if Coco Gauff continued to work with you at 14, and then she also, I personally think that at 14, she started playing too many tournaments, too many professional tournaments, and maybe stopped developing her game as much at that age, because she was fourth round of Wimbledon and the US Open at 15 years old. Do you think that if she was held back a little bit, stayed with you for a little bit longer, kept developing her game, that she'd have 8 or 10 Grand Slams now?
Yes, that would be in my head I would say yes, definitely yes. I would love that's if I had a concept of billionaire, that's what I was thinking. That's what I had in mind anyway. The tournaments, the dad love for her to play tournaments. I didn't have a problem with it because she's always turning up for a match. She always turns up for her practice before a match and after the match. She turns up for a practice session. So when she was with me, her game was always evolving, even though she was playing tournament. So this is something that the most underrated tennis coach in the history of the sport of tennis is Richard Williams. He took the girls of the tournament for 4 or 5 years. Just think about that for a second. And turn up 5, 6 years later on, the girl become number 1 players in the world in women's. Just think of all. I wouldn't recommend 5 years. I'll definitely recommend 6 months. Go play 3 or 4 tournaments and see what's going on. Come back and another 6-month train again. That's what I did with Corey. You know how many matches I watched Corey play in her whole career in juniors? I watched her play 2 matches. Wow. 2 matches in 5 years. Everybody asks me, why don't you go to the tournament? I do not need to go to the tournament. I've watched Richard Williams done this over the years, and I've experienced it my own daughters. Sloane, I took Sloane to the tournament for 8, 9 months. Sloane didn't play a tournament just to get a ground stroke going. So yes, there's a lighter chance you're playing too many tournaments if you're not paying attention to the development stage of the game. You're forehand getting better, your backhand getting better. So when Corey was with me, we never took our eye off what the concept of our game was growing up. So yes, there's a lighter chance, and as I said to you, we always knew our forehand was a stronger point. There's a lighter chance she became number 1 junior in the world, start playing a lot of tournaments now, and then something creep in her game, which will creep in because she's still growing. Every athlete in any sports who grew, something is going to change in your game. The whoever is behind, you got to make sure when that changes happen, you go back. You understand? Go back to the basket, the balls, go back to the reinforcing. And this happened to all the kids, all the kids I ever coach. So my only thing is, yes, there's a lighter chance they took the high off the forehand when she started winning so much. And let her keep going, let her keep winning, it's okay. And took eyes off the forehand. And then, there's a little problem with the forehand. It's not the worst forehand in the world. She can still win a Grand Slam or win a mini Grand Slam with that forehand. But in my vision for what her forehand would have been for the future, yes, I would not take her. I would not took my eye off that forehand at no time at all, because I know the devastation of what would have come behind her forehand if she kept that concept of what we were doing going. Every day, come back and train, hit forehands, go to play a match, win a tournament, come back, we work, forehand is on again. And I knew too, when she grew or when she hit the growth spurs, not only her, every other player that we ever coach is something my goes off course a little bit. We got it back and get them back on course. You understand? So you have a good, very, very good question, perspective by the question you asked. Would I think, yes, I'm going to give myself the credit because I knew what the situation was. Yes, she would never lost out of that forehand. If she was still under my umbrella at that moment, she would never lost sight of that forehand. It's just, that's just a very realistic answer. We would not take her out of that forehand because that was her game for 5 years. We did not take her out of that forehand for 5 straight years. So whatever happened there, the hitch came into her game a little bit. Then I even went back and watched in the videos when she was, I saw on YouTube, Jeff Jock put some videos. I watched her forehand. Oh, how much different the forehand when she was 11 years old. I watched it. The technical formation, the head of the racket. I mean, how clean the follow through was. I've seen it. I went back and watched the videos. And yes, there's a little change in the technical, in the biometrics of the forehand. And can they change it back? Yes, they can change it back. 100% sure. But the person behind it got to make sure they're understanding of what they're looking for and making sure they want to do it or want to make the change for the forehand to get a little bit better. You understand it? You only need to be 15-20% more better, and that's it. The ability.
Yeah, and you mentioned Jeff Drock again. And again, we just finished shooting content with him. It was amazing. He works with Coco between the age of 7 and 14. But he said what he was most proud of is there were no injuries. So he really talked about, balancing out her body. And most people don't know, he was actually a high-level college tennis player. So he really worked on, and you mentioned they did do 2 sessions a day sometimes.
Yes.
But people also don't know that you coach Sloane Stephens, you coach Coco Gauff, but you also coach 2 other top 100 players almost from the beginner stage, Victoria Aduval and Sasha Vickery. And you obviously had so many other world junior champions. What was the difference between the 4 players that broke the top 100 to the other players that were great juniors but didn't kick on and make it to the top 100?
Yeah, yes, there is, and that's a good. There's a lot of girls that I've worked with, uh, they're Julia Bosworth. I spent a lot of time with Julia Bosworth. She was top 100 too. I spent a lot of time with her. But yes, there's a lot of girls who came through that process, and there's a lot of girls I was on the court with while they were with their coaches and working. As I said to you the other day, I remember doing drills at IMG with a group of 7 girls. I was the guy doing the drill. I was feeding the ball. Nick was just walking around, and I remember who was in that group was Martina Ingis, Maria Sharapova, my oldest daughter Nicole, Jeremiah Jackson, Tatiana Golovin, and there's another girl, Daniela Antukova, who was probably about 15 at that time, 14 or 15. We're doing a fastball drill, live ball drills, just from the basket. I mean, dead ball drill from the basket. And I remember feeling that, wow, this is a special moment. I took a picture. I got pictures. I can send the pictures here. I remember I took a picture of all these girls. I'm like, wow, this was so good because they were good listeners. They were good players. Martin Inglis was already good already. She was already 16 years old, so she was there, and she saw us doing drills and she wanted to jump in. She jumped in, want to play with the girls. But I remember the group of girls. 5 of those girls became top 10 tennis player in the world. 3 of them became number 1 WTA player in the world. Wow. You understand? So the question you asked a good question. I was just fortunate to experience a lot of, especially Venus and Serena, good girls and boys during their development stage. You understand? So this is where I like to take the credit for a development coach, because I know how much time I spend during this period with kids anywhere from 6 years old to 13, 14 years old, and always asked to go with that player on to 18 or 19, 20. I'm like, no. I'm going back to what I'm good at. You understand? I don't go out and say I want to go. I did it quite a few times, but I do not feel comfortable doing. I feel comfortable putting the rack in the kids' hand and we started over again. So this is what I'm good at. And I was very good at doing that. You understand? It was very successful, probably one of the most successful in the world, maybe if not the most successful at that time, is putting the racket in the kid hand and watch him going through that stage all the way to about 14 years old. And once we get to that point, oh, why don't you go with the player? Why don't you go with... No, I want to go do it again. I'm very good at that. And I feel like I'm the best at doing it too. I feel very confident about it. And I'm not going to go outside of that bond. I want to go do it again. I know what I'm good at. I don't want to go do something else where, I don't feel comfortable. So the question was the experience alone and the talent that the players possess and the team that they got around them and the parents' concept of what they're trying to achieve or where they're trying to go in tennis, give me a bright idea or give me a way bit of vision of predicting the player, how good that player going to become. We never know. Something can happen. They could have injury. They could, many things can happen. Many things. What happened many times? The parents get divorced, and once the parents get divorced, so that's one of the things I look at with core experience is, they're a tight knit family. The grandparent, they love to go to church. There's a lot of stuff going on there. Which I make the sacrifice to make sure she get everything she needs to become a professional tennis player. If at one moment the dad shows me that there's a likely chance there's going to be a divorce, or I wouldn't put that much effort or energy into whatever I was doing, because I know there's a likely chance things can derail very quickly. You understand? So I made these predictions not just because of Corey talent that she's got, but because of the stability of the parents. People always complain about the dad. The dad is never there. I don't see the guy for 5 years. He comes on the weekend, take Corey, go to the tournament, come back Monday morning, job Corey up and said, Sly, buddy, see you later. She need to hit more drive volleys, or she need to learn to hit the short ball. I see you later, and he's gone. Sometimes I'm like, you're not going to stay for 10 minutes. He's gone. I got to go. He's gone. So what I knew then is my responsibility to make sure Corey get good. The mom sits there on the bench, don't say one word to me. That's another impressive part of development. The mom did not say one word. 5 years. You think Corey consistency was good? The mom consistency was even better. The mom sits on the bench for 5 years and they'll say one word to me, and I don't say one word to her. You understand? She just sit there and basically watch me borderline, physically abuse her kid because 8, 10-year-old kid playing tennis 6, 7 hours a day. That's a lot of work. And she sits there as a parent and take it all in. The dad is gone, the dad is working. So my decision to make sure I give this kid everything possible need determine on many different circumstances. Because at the end of the day, there's not enough money you can pay me to make your kid good. The money is not. I tell many people like that over and over. Here in Thailand, I got clients who are billionaires. They're like not little billionaire, and I explain to them this concept is in order for their kid to get good, a lot of things will have to change. Everything is too easy. You understand? So I made these decisions off a very, very high level of sure that I've experienced that there's a likely chance things are going to go south if we did not align all these things together at one point. The parenting, the decision that the parent make, the kids' work, the kid, everything got to come together. So the difference between the ones who made the top 100, dozens of girls made the top 100 I've been, and the ones who did not, some way, something, one of those aspects fell off very drastically. Maybe injured, it could be injured, maybe injury, you understand? But usually the most devastated one is the parents get divorced. Yes, the most devastating one is the parents get divorced. And then the second one behind that is the parents making the wrong decision for the kids. Took them from a very disciplined, stable environment and take them into a different environment, thinking something else is over there waiting for them good. And they got there 6 months in and the kids fall apart. Nobody knows how to fix anything. And they try to come back. Now you lose 1 year. The kid is 14, 15 years old, lose 1 year. And then you got to go catch the next year back up. The kid's already passed you already, you understand? So there's many different things that I could say the difference is not just one thing. Many different aspects. The ones who made it in is a lot of things that align together, the right moment, the right time, and the consistency of it through a long period of time. You understand? The other ones, maybe yes, maybe no, in and out, in and out, in and out. There's a lot of different aspects, but that's a very, very good, very, very good question. What's the difference? I can tell you, but many coaches never experienced this to tell you this because they never gone through it before. They never been to this point before where, there's so many things you have to have aligned with each other. They never experienced it before. And that's why good, coach who think they want to become the best coach in the world, a professional coach, don't be afraid to get help from other coaches who've done it before. See what they do right, see what they did right and what they did wrong, and learn from that so you won't avoid, taking a girl from 8 years old to 30 years old and avoid doing something bad, and then that messes you for 2-3 years. Then that girl, like a chance, not going to catch back up with the other kids already passed, already gone, because you wasted, because you made such a big mistake. So as a coach, don't be afraid to go learn from other coaches. So this is the good thing about Coach Life is you got so many different coaches on there, giving you their philosophy and concept of, of learning the game. And so, many parents should get to your platform and get in and listen to information from all the coaches. I'm not the only coach in the world. There's many good coaches. And take all the information they can get and learn from it. You understand? Understanding the concept of what's required. The next thing is the discipline of what's required. And the next thing is the consistency of what's required. So the concept, the discipline of doing it, and the consistency of the discipline of doing all those two. So those three main things. If you can avoid anything else and try and keep all three of these things in your arsenal, the concept of whatever you're doing, whether it's the technique or the footwork or the how to win a match, how to play the game, or the discipline of doing it over and over, the consistency. So concept, discipline, and consistency. So those I'm looking for from the player at all times. You understand? Yes. So if the parent comes in and messes up, like I asked Corey that, do not mess up her consistent practice every day. Because she's giving 100% score every day. We do not want to change nothing at any time at all to mess that up. So he listened very, very careful, never did nothing to mess it up. Corey go play matches at different academies. Corey go to the USTA. Corey go to tournaments all over the world. Corey did her practice every single day. That never changes, never, ever, ever changes. He understands the importance of that. The concept, the discipline of doing something and the consistency of doing it over and over and over. And once he understands that, I knew we were onto something special. Okay, so for the parents out there, and the coaches out there, concept of what you're doing, the discipline of doing it, and the consistency of doing it over a long period of time. That's what development tennis is all about. Development in any sports is all about. So this is where the parents go wrong. They do not understand the concept of what's for a forehand technique or a backhand technique, but they don't understand it, but they're doing it by themselves. Instead of listening to the coach for a long period of time, and then you can learn. Sit there and learn. If it's a good enough coach and the coach already done it already, sit there for a year or two and learn everything that the coach is doing. Yes, I saw award and television. Corey Coco's father got Coach of the Year, some award. He got Coach of the Year, something. I don't know if it was a UST or USPT or something. Yeah. I remember when this guy sit and listen to everything I'm saying, just sit there and gets everything in his head. Yes. So if you're a parent and you're going to try and make some decision for your kid, you ask yourself this very important question: are you qualified? Do you think you have enough knowledge and requirement to know that to know that you're capable of coaching your kid? Yes, you honestly ask yourself that question. Else, this will be the worst possible thing for the kid. Is you as a parent trying to make all these big decisions for the kid. You have no concept of what you're doing, no discipline in what you're doing, and no consistency in what you're doing. You don't have no idea at all. After 15 years old, that person is going to go right in the bushes somewhere. They're gone off path. You understand? Yes, you as a parent, you have to know that. So the concept of what's happening, the discipline of doing the same thing over and over, and the consistency of doing it for a long period of time. So all these things, Richard Williams, he mastered. He was a genius. We thought he was crazy at one point. This guy is a brilliant tennis coach. Yes, he understands the importance of a concept. That's where Macy gave the girl some sort of concept. The father understand what he watched for 10, 15 months, whatever time they spent with Macy. And then he took them and he did it every single day. I remember the girls did open stand forehand all day, open stand backhand all day long. You see, Venus Serena, she's the only one who can do open stand. And I remember the dad every single day do open stand forehand, open and back, dry volleys every single day. Every single day. And he understand the ability for the kids to take chances. The importance, the freedom you give the kids to take chances and miss the ball, lose, and get ready to go do it again. Or get ready to go get better at doing it. That's where you get better from making mistake. So I remember the quick story is I watching the dad. She brought Venus and Serena to Christopher Tennis Academy to play a boy. A boy got very good kick serve. So I think Serena was like 14 years old. And he wanted the boys to serve against Serena. And I remember the guy, that's Richard Williams, Serena was trying to return the guy, Kyle. The guy name is Kyle, his kick serve. And the ball keep jumping over Serena's head. The father said, for the second time, the ball's going over your head, step into the court, take the ball earlier. He didn't say nothing about hitting the ball in the court. Richard Williams understood that in order for you to return this ball, you have to get it earlier where it's not overhead because you cannot play. Once you get overhead, it's a lob. It's gone overhead. It's a kick serve. It's gone. A third time again, Serena did not step in. The dad walked up to her behind and touched her on the butt with the racket and said, I didn't ask you to make the ball in the court. I asked you to do what? Serena was like, No, the dad said, step into the ball. He didn't actually hit the ball in the court. And I'm thinking about what this guy was doing now, but what he was doing then. He's a freaking genius. The guy is a genius. You understand? So he told her to step into the ball. It's not making the ball in the court at the moment. It's you learning how to return a kick serve. Step into the ball, get the ball early off the right. So you saw Serena when she just came out, she's right on the line returning everybody's serve. Yes, Serena, when she came out, she was inches away from the service line, returning everybody's serve. She was attacking everybody's serve. So you see what I'm saying to you? It happened, the consistency of that over the years. Serena became the most dominant woman returning in the history of the sport. I just saw some videos the other day of her serving on that video, and she did Richard in the background saying to her, this is the way you're going to serve at the US Open. This is the way you're going to win the US Open. And he's letting her know that I'm seeing the same vision. He's seeing the same vision he's expecting, you understand? And the girls, funny enough, Serena was serving at the US Open ace or whatever the video was, but he was, yes. So this guy was a total genius. We all thought he was crazy and stupid at one point, but we were all wrong. We need to give this guy one of the best coaches to ever coach the game of tennis. Lot of his model that I model with many players, including Coco, I use the same concept understanding, and then the consistency of doing it over a long period of time. And then now we know, evolve into something special because of how many players we're built with the same, discipline of towards the sports of tennis.
Yeah, I love it. And consistency is a talent, it's a talent to be able to consistently work hard over a long period. And it's not just sacrifice from the players, there's obviously sacrifice from the parents as well. And I think you have to be completely honest with yourself. And so many players and parents lie to themselves about how hard they actually are working. Well, did you do 4 hours a day last week? No, we went on holiday last week. We were away for 10 days, or it was a public holiday, or, so it's that consistent work over time, no matter what is happening in your life.
Yes. I would recommend for any development player, especially during the younger age, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, some days you don't have to be in the court 10 hours. You know what I'm saying? You just a 45 minutes, 1 hour session if you don't feel like doing it. But re-engrave in the game of tennis, for some reason, it's very difficult for you to skip time during this stage. Do not take any more than 2 weeks off unless it's something really bad, you injure something or something. Because from my experience, the consistency and the discipline of the concept is to reinforce the same thing over and over every day, especially if it's timing, if it's technical formation, if it's supposed to be muscle memory. For a kid who is growing, as soon as they stop doing the muscle memory, they grow, so the muscle stretches out, and they take a long time off. When they come back, the time, everything changes. So very important, I said to you, the consistent. So we knew that for sure when we used to make a chart of choreo or progress every day, whatever training. That was over a 3-4 year period. It was she'd get 100 every day for practice. So what we knew is nobody we've ever coached before, never had this before, nobody. So this is why we knew she was special. In some way, somehow she was special. There was other special girls around the world, but we didn't see any of them in front of us at that time. Maybe it was in Russia somewhere or Ukraine somewhere, but we didn't see. You understand? There was nobody else around doing that. So we knew this was special. So yes, it's very important to have the consistency over a long period of time. The amount of hours you train, the discipline of training, the concept of what you're doing, understand what you're doing, and then over not for 2 weeks, not for 3 weeks, a long period of time. If you're thinking to become the best player in the world, you don't get mad at a coach if something don't work for 1 month. You explain to the coach, and how long it's going to take. Do you want, more time to do it? You understand? Yes. And if the coach is not, if you don't think the coach is, skilled enough, have enough knowledge to do it, or the wisdom to do it, then maybe you need to find a different coach, because what you're doing to the coach, you don't believe what he's doing, and he doesn't have the trust in what you're saying. So all of a sudden now it makes the environment for the player. So it's like a chant, if you do not trust the coach, what the coach is doing, and it's up to you, it's your own judgment. This is where it's very important for you to make the right decision as a parent. If you do not like the coach because the coach don't say something to you, but the coach is coaching your kid, that's not a reason why not to like the coach. The coach is doing his job. The coach is not there to coach you. The coach is there to coach your kid. So if you don't understand what the coach is doing, please make sure you don't get crazy because you think the coach is... No, you don't understand it, but your kid is talented enough to understand. Your kid is a talent. The coach is not there to coach you. So whenever time you make a decision to change that coach, please make sure it's the right decision to change the coach. Because there's a likely chance, if it's a bad decision and plus the coach you bring him to, destabilize things, there's a likely chance your kid is going backwards for a whole year before you can stop it. You understand? So the parent, that's what I'm saying, the parent's decision, whatever the parents do, their mindset and the concept of what the game is, need to be in line with not just the coach, with the game of tennis, basically. You understand? You have to be very, very careful as a parent to be making the right decision, because your kid don't have enough time to 6 months go backward and try to go back forward again. Then, and there's a lot of chance many kids won't recover from that.
I 100% agree. And I think Roger Federer made that comment that he said you have to have some luck with who coaches you as a junior, but then again, you choose who coaches you, right? So I guess Roger Federer's parents, they sort of stood back a little bit. He was more in control of his career, but you talk about CoachLife, all the information is there for parents and players to educate themselves on what to look for in a coach. on how to become better as a coach. I mean, it took you 20, 25 years to evolve and improve as a coach, like you say. And the same with, sorry, guys.
Yes, the game evolves. You understand? The game is an ever evolving thing, and you have to evolve with the game, and not only evolve with it, you have to make some, for your kid, you have to make some sort of prediction of what direction the game is going in, and then so you have the tools to guard yourself against it when it happens. It will happen. It will evolve. We don't know everything. But what we know for sure is stuff that you're doing bad today, we've known it never worked in the past. So if you're doing it bad and we're telling you, oh, there's a likely chance, we've never seen this work before, and that doesn't, your odds goes all the way down. That means you're not going to get to that point. You understand? So there's many things we know, did not work. Many things, many flaws we know. And not only did not work, hamper your ability to get better, to go further, to become the best in the world. There's many. So very, very important, for you to make the right decision, to make sure you do not get hampered by doing something wrong that you told was wrong, but you still insist in your head to be going the wrong direction when you should be going the opposite direction. You understand? So you're going further and further away from reality rather than stick with what you know or what's been proven and go toward that path of getting better, or go to the path of becoming the best in the world. So there's a thin line, and this is the reason why I've always asked the question, why was I so sure so many of my girls would be a professional tennis player? Why only 1% of the players become professional, whatever the percentage is? And I'm like saying that, first of all, that statement is just wrong overall. For in my mind, you cannot compare a kid who play, I want to be a professional tennis player and play half an hour every day with some private coach, and compare that to Coco playing 5 years with some sort of discipline professional program, and put them in the same category. Said, that they got to be in two different categories. Cannot be in the same category.
Yeah.
Yes, cannot be in the same category. So many people sees that and say, oh, only one person that play. No, that's false, totally false. You understand? You cannot put your kid in a group of kids with 10 kids and do a 3-4 session and a group session every day and think you're going to beat Corey at 10 years. You're not. You're going to get 6-0. You understand? So both of them cannot be in the same. Same when I go to China. They show me a picture and they say they want many juniors to be like this. So they showed me a picture of Corey. I think she won some ITF tournament in Europe. They say they want this. And I'm like, yes, we have to work to get at that point. Who's here doing that work? You understand? You have good players, but I need to see what their development structure was like, what they're doing to get to that point. And it's going to take a long while to get to that point. Not going to take 3-4 months. It's going to take 3, 4, 5 years to get to that point. So same thing there. You have to make sure you have that sort of concept and understanding what you're doing, how much work you put in every day, how much professional work you get in. Are you getting the right information? Is your kid got some sort of talent, whatever the talent, whether it's mental toughness, whether it's physical ability, like we saw with Sloane, the ability to strike the tennis ball. You understand? So those you have to look at and then see what your program is like. So everybody cannot be in the same. Only 1% of players get it. This is total nonsense. Like I got 8 players on a tennis court, and 9 of the 8 players became top 100 in the world. You understand? So yes, I would give a higher percent. Any girl around the world who's got that kind of program, like for example, like what Corey had, I would give them a 75% chance, 80% chance they'll become a professional tennis player, a top 100 player, if they're doing the same program. You understand? But if they're not, then you have to be in a whole different category from them. It cannot be the same as somebody who's doing that kind of work. You understand? Yes, it's impossible for you to have them in a set. It's a false. That's what false. Concept of the game is only 1%. Yes, you're going to be in that 1%, 99% who don't make it if you do that program for sure. You understand? Yes. So you have to put yourself into a good program, and whatever the program is, understand what the game is, how much hours a day you work and how consistent you do it. And then give your best shot of say, okay, it's a 50-50 chance, 50% chance you're going to be a top 100 player, 50% chance you're going to be a top, you understand, top junior in the world or something, you understand? So it's just got to be, just the whole idea of what the concept of being good is. Everybody in the world cannot be in the same kind. There's kids who are working who's going to be good, and there's no chance for you to beat them because you're not even working a fraction of what they're doing. You're only doing 25% of what they're doing. You cannot beat that person. You're not going to have a chance. You understand? It's just a two different worlds. So if you're thinking about playing high school, that's a different story. Think about being the best in the world, then you have to make sure you're in a different class of, programming growing up. Cannot be just somebody playing tennis a couple times a week with a couple groups of kids and put everybody in the same category. That's totally false.
Yeah, 100% agree. People make that comment all the time. There's millions of people playing tennis all over the world. It's so hard to make it, but there's not. There's really only thousands all over the world.
In the right work, yes, to get to that. Yeah, 100% sure.
Yeah, okay. And then over time, the pool keeps getting smaller and smaller because kids, like you say, they stop consistently working hard. They get sick of tennis. They play college tennis. When they get to play college tennis, they lose the motivation. They're away from their parents. So that pool just keeps getting smaller and smaller. So if you could just keep consistently working hard, I actually think it's harder to be one of the best juniors in the world than it is to be one of the best pro players in the world, or at least just make the top 100. I think it's much harder to be the best 14-year-old in the world or the best 16-year-old in the world than it is to be a top 100 player.
Many players always come in. Yes, you're right. To get to that point in the juniors, it's a tough road to get to that point. And many players at that stage. Yes, you have a lot more players from all over the country, all over the world
that are putting in consistent work. Like there's many players at that age that are consistently working 4 or 5 hours a day, but for whatever reason, they just drop off. And, I saw it myself in juniors. I had a guy, Peter Lutzak, and in the 18s, I was number 2 in Australia in the juniors, and he was number 5,000. I mean, he was not, but he got into college somehow and then just kept improving every year. And I think at 25, 26, he eventually broke into the top 100. He ended up making top 30 in the world. Yeah. And he's just kept improving consistently every year, and he just kept at it over time, and he was able to stay on that even keel, and that's the thing, just to be able to stay on that even keel, not get too up, not get too down. Can't be.
Yeah, the consistency, of him day in, day out, committing himself to getting better. You will get better if there's any sort of any sort of talent there, any sort of requirements there, you're going to get better. If you consistently, push your way through and you have some sort of, you're going to get better. Who surprised me is that girl, she was in the group behind Corey. And, I saw her the other day. She was in the U.S. Open playing the main draw. And I remember that girl, she's top 100 now, I think. And I remember she came to the tennis court and the dad said, wow, look at my daughters and look at Corey, look how good they are. And he's comparing his daughter to, and I said to him, do you believe your daughter's going to get good? And he said to me, yes. And I honestly believe, and I just saw the girl, it's a black girl, a US black girl from the US. And she's close to the top 100 now, but she wins some good matches. I watch her play. And I remember the dad just said, yes, Sly, I think my daughter's going to get there too, And I'm like, yes, that's the spirit. So I'm very glad to see her. She's I remember I said to the dad, yes, you can. Your daughter is very good at league. She used to make a lot of mistakes, but you can tell she was purposely going for good shots and stuff like that. And now, yes, she can beat anybody in the world, I guess. And if any of the good days she got, she can beat anybody in the world, I guess. So the ability to continue work and not giving in too early and just persevere for a long period of time, become the second most important part of, somebody who's skilled and went ahead of you. So the second most important part of it is the disciplined desire to keep improving and keep going.
And the enjoyment, you have to enjoy it. If you love it, then you can keep playing. And obviously you need the finances to be able to keep playing. And that becomes a problem for a lot of players. But, now with CoachLife, we've got so much knowledge and information there. You don't have to be the best junior and get picked as part of your federation to get high quality coaching. Now you can find high quality coaching online and get different opinions and viewpoints.
Yeah, and just understanding what's the good thing about coach, like this. What I like about it is just so many different coaches there. I listen to them all the time. I listen to every time I see one comes on. I listen to what they're saying. I mean, so many good, so much good. I didn't get this kind of information when I was growing up as a coach. I have to go find this information myself. I have to be in the court putting ball in Rick Mason's hand every day, listening to what he's saying. And he says, "Sly, you're not going for lunch?" I said, "Rick, when are you going for lunch?" "Oh, I don't have any lunch today." "Well, I don't have any lunch today either." Same thing. I remember on the court with Nick Balletier behind him, putting ball in his hand, he's feeding ball to the girls, and I'm the one who put in the ball. Listen to everything he's saying. That's information that I had to go find myself. These coaches nowadays, they hit the CoachLife platform, they go online, and they can hear the same stuff that I had to go find. It's just right there in front of them. They can just take advantage of a situation like this and get all the information they need, all the experience they need to help them to be a good coach or to coach somebody to become a professional tennis player. Our professional, our parents trying to, help their kids become professional. Even the students can learn from everything there. So it's just overall ideal for anybody, the whole game of tennis, to who's trying to get good or get better or become the best in the world at whatever level they're thinking they want to get to.
For sure. Absolutely. I mean, we could talk all day, Sly, but it's been amazing. I always learn so much when I speak to you.
Yeah, it's a good one. I don't really do this too often, but whenever time I commit to someone like you, who I know the information is going to go to good use, I will talk. You understand? I did a seminar in Singapore the other day. I had maybe about 250 people. I can't think of the last time I feel so much people, sitting down in front of me, and they were taking everything. And I just talk. I get paid for 2 hours. I talk for 4 hours. You understand? I just kept going. So I like this kind of conversation when I feel like it's going to go to good use. You understand?
Well, thank you very much, Sly. It's been amazing. Look forward to doing it again. And as he said, shooting more content over the next few months.
Yes. And I will talk to you in a little bit, and then we'll talk about we're going to get when we're going to get the content done.
All right. Sounds good, mate. Thanks, Sly.
Thank you, buddy. See you later. Thank you.